Today is my 100th consecutive day of running at least 1 mile a day. I started in November of 2021 and it is now March 8th of 2022. And I want to share a little bit about how, why I'm doing this, how it's been going, and yeah, what it's like to run 100 days in a row. How I started this, how I got to day 100 is I set a goal back in November to run for 1 year, at least a mile a day. So 365 days of running. And that's been a goal of mine for a long while. Basically when I started running back in 2016 or so, I made a lot of long-term goals, and one of them was to run every single day for a year. And I just decided in November that that was the time to do this. I hadn't been running for a while, for most of last year, and I wanted to get back into it. And yeah, so I started. Hopefully I don't stop at day 100 and I continue on with that goal and meet that goal of 365 days or 1 year. So what is it like to run for 100 consecutive days? For me, I think everybody's experience would be different. For me, it hasn't been super difficult, at least body-wise. Like I've taken it very slowly. I've had my share of injuries or whatever in the past with my legs or IT band or whatnot. So I've been very careful about not doing too much. So there's a lot of 1 mile days, and the cold has also kept me from going longer. It's just not easy to stay out in the cold for a long period of time. It's easy for me to just be like, I'm gonna get my mile in, 2 miles in, and get back home as quick as I can. So that's helped prevent any injuries. I haven't really experienced anything. I've had like a slight foot issue that's come and gone. And then I've also been diligent here and there about stretching and exercising and keeping my body in shape. And keeping my body, just in working shape, and trying not to overextend myself or do too much. Outside of just injury prevention and cold, the largest obstacle I've faced so far has been, there's a period of time I was sick. I actually had COVID in February, the middle of February, maybe early, like the first week of February or so. And it started as like a sore throat, and I was running through it until basically the sore throat got much worse. So we got, my wife and I got tested for COVID. I kept running, I just did a few days of treadmill work, and then when we got our test back, I was already feeling better by that point. So pretty much just decided to run through that sickness. I took it very slow, just a few days of just a mile at a really slow pace, but I didn't want that to end my streak. Had the thought that maybe I would wake up and just feel so miserable that I wouldn't end up going for a jog or whatever. Thankfully, I didn't have any sort of respiratory issues, and I know that a lot of what I've read or listened to, COVID isn't something that you want to exercise through. I haven't had any issues from doing that. I didn't have any symptoms that were respiratory. It was really just a sore throat. So that gave me enough confidence to keep running. And then once I found out that it was COVID, I was already feeling better at that point. So I continued on with what I've been doing. That was probably the closest to ending my streak before 100. It really made me think about people who have years-long streaks and how they run through different illnesses or other injuries, and how they continue their streak despite some insane injuries or surgeries or illnesses. Other than that, running in different weather, snow and rain, I've only had to do a couple days of rain, so that hasn't been tremendously hard. Snow doesn't bother me as much, other than when none of the roads are plowed or the trails aren't plowed or sidewalks aren't plowed. That can be annoying to run in, but it hasn't put me out of commission yet. Some things that I've learned throughout these first 100 days, my idea of running and getting it done has changed a little bit. I think that in the past it was easy for me to get burnt out on running. I would put maybe more pressure on myself to go at a certain speed or a certain distance or pace, and I've stopped worrying more so about my speed or how fast I'm running, and also my distance. I just try to enjoy my run, and if I feel like walking, then I walk, and then if I feel like running fast, then I run fast. And that's been extremely helpful. I've enjoyed knowing that I'm going to do this every single day. When in the past, what I've done is I start a streak and then I'm like, oh, I wonder how long I can do this. But now I'm going to do this for 365 days. I have to run tomorrow and the next day and the next day. It's not a choice. It's not just how long can I keep this going. It's also been helpful to have an end date and an end goal time period. So I'm not just running without knowing when I'll stop my streak. So for example, I can set from November 29th, 21 to November 29th, 2022. That's when I'm going to be done, or when I'll stop and reevaluate if I want to continue. Knowing that there's going to be an end has been helpful. I know when I get up in the morning or when I come home from work that I've got to get my run in.